You talked a little bit on the radio last night about this, but with no fans or few fans there, obviously no fans tomorrow night, does that affect the energy level of your players? Does it make it more kind of like an AAU game to fall into those bad habits that you're talking about all the time?
Well, it affects the game here. Come on now, 24,000 in this building. And when we needed to make a stop or two or get a basket, our fans would have been going crazy. And maybe we come up with an extra rebound or we dunk a ball, something good happens. The fans here are a big reason that we have the kind of run at home that we've had. Without them, it's going to hurt. But guess what? Everybody has the same issues. The only difference is Rupp Arena is Rupp Arena. And it's one of those things that I said this, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. It would affect us more than any other team.
All right, we're going to Kyle Tucker next, and then Jerry will be after him.
Cal, how obviously challenging for all your young guys against a veteran team, but particularly at point guard when they've got a guy who can just bother the ball, veteran savvy guy and an aggressive defender. How much of a challenge was that for a not even just a freshman, but a young reclassified freshman point guard like Devin Askew? And how do you deal with him going forward in terms of trying to build him
I'll
back?
be honest with you. The issue wasn't what he did defensively. He did a pretty good job. He had one that he pushed up late in the game. The kid went and shot a floater when they were up 10. But short of that, he did a pretty good job. And the issue we had was, and we showed him the tape, we had 21 turnovers, and that led to 20 points, and some of them run-throughs. And then the second thing we had an issue with, we went from a very unselfish basketball team. I've never coached a team that had no assists in the second half. Now, you could say we missed shots, but we went on the tape and showed them all the extra passes they could have made to get other guys open for shots or threes and there's someone in front of you that's not your man. That means someone's open. You go and there's someone in front of you and he's not your man, you're passing. So we'll work on it today, and hopefully that's the dregs of, all right, now it's my time to do my thing. And when you got one or two guys doing it, it leads to 4 or 5 or 6 guys doing it. And spacing was bad, not their fault, my fault. We got to work on that a little bit. And then there were some other things that I'm going to move around offensively and do some different things. We didn't screen. We didn't run the guy into the screen. A lot of little things that cost you a game. But that game from 18-20 to 16-20 is where they won it. We were up 6. We're ready to go up 8. And all of a sudden you turn around in 2 minutes and you're down 3, and you should have been down 6. They missed a wide open 3. And so the lesson to them is that's why you got to play. You got to know how to stop the bleeding. I've got to teach them how to play winning basketball. We got good players, but they're not ready to play winning basketball the way they're playing right now.
All right, Jerry, you got next. Larry Bond after him.
Yeah, John, I wonder about the challenges that Kansas brings, and in particular, when they play 4 or 5 guards.
Yeah, they play 5 guards, and they play their point guard as a 5-man. I mean, they put them inside. It's amazing stuff. And I will say this, that, they've got some vets. They got some tough. Their post player is physically tough and will fight. They're downhill runners. They got good 3-point shooters. The guys that are supposed to shoot threes shoot threes. And they're in there knowing I'm searching out threes. We're still learning that. I'm still trying to get them to understand we don't need everybody to do everything. You do these 3 or 4 things. Let him do these 3 or 4. We're still trying to figure it out. I watched the stuff I watched. I think they're playing well. They played 2 good teams, and Gonzaga maybe the best team. And that was a touch and go game. They got down, but they come right back. They're not afraid. They're a veteran. They'll fight. It's going to be a hard game for us. We know it, just like the Richmond game was a hard game. No fans. We are leaving today because of this weather. I got spooked when you wake up and there's a foot of snow on the ground. I'm like, we better get up there, or we may be getting up there an hour before the game. So we are leaving today.
All right, Larry, and then Christos, we'll go with you after that.
Yeah, John, I was going to ask you about your travel plans since you just talked about that. Can you just talk about if there was a positive yesterday about the way your guys did rebound the basketball?
Well, there's a positive how we defended. I mean, that's a hard team to guard with a bunch of young guys. And I told them, if you defend like that and you out rebound a team by 20, I really never heard of a team losing that game. But I said, when you get 5 assists and 21 turnovers and you don't create a good 3 for us, and the ones were created, we missed, well, that's when you lose the game. I never thought our issue would be offensively, but when I think back, just about every year I've done this, it's been the same. Like, we still haven't figured out how exactly we're going to play. We've got good 3-point shooters. We're not going to rely on it. We're not going to take 40. But I told the staff again, we need to take 17 to 21, 22 threes. And again, the guys that can shoot it, let it go. We can do some stuff with even Cam. Cam had 3 opportunities for threes, and we didn't throw him the ball. We charged one time. We tried to do a step through one time. We threw it to the wrong guy one time. It was almost like we tried to make everything hard. I got to make a play here. And so we got some work to do offensively. We did some good stuff, but not enough. The ball wasn't, like I said, we didn't create a good shot for a teammate. The assist, I've never seen a team with 5 assists, no assist in the second half. So we got to work on it. We got to talk about it. We pointed it out today. And now we got to do what we can to get ready with a quick turn and get on a plane and get to Indianapolis.
Christos, we'll go with you, and John Clay after that.
Hello, coach. I would like to ask you, you have a new team this season. How evaluate the progress of your team so far? And also, 2 of your former players, De'Aaron Fox and Bam Adebayo, get Supermax extension. Do you believe that in this class of your team, do you have players who can get Supermax or become NBA top-level players in the near future?
Well, I would say this, and all these people on this call, when you watch Bam the first week of the season, did you think he'd be a Supermax player in the NBA leaving after a year? Or even if you watch De'Aaron Fox the first week of the season, they'd probably say no. Probably tell you, well, he'll be back. And, the same, whether we say Jamal, who got a Supermax, I mean, all these kids, I mean, it takes time. This is different. I got 10 new guys, no returners. Now, I've started 5 freshmen before. I think it was in 2014, but that team took us till March. Woohoo. It was March before we clicked in. We got to get Keon back here. Let's hope in the next 2-3 weeks he's back, and then we can figure out what we do from there.
John Clay, then Lonnie after that.
John, what did you see out of Olivier yesterday? How'd you think he played?
Better. There was some stuff in the second half, shots that I thought he could make. Missed, a couple free throws, but what he gave us against a really good big guy that he got in foul trouble, he went right at him, showed me, okay, we know where we are there. We know what we got. Now, Kansas will play it a little different. They'll dig like crazy. They'll trap. There may be kickouts for threes. They work on closing that way, but, it showed us we can throw him the ball. And when we did, something good was happening. Our spacing wasn't great. And that's not on these kids. That's on me. I got to do a better job of really saying this is where you have to go.
Go ahead, Lonnie, and then Jeff Rowan after that.
Cal, it's obvious that you have a very swift team. You just got guys that can run. They get them down the court. My question is that on this level of basketball, are they fully aware of the quickness and the savvy that teams play with in terms of being able to protect the basketball?
Well, obviously not, but this was a first time. These kids, most of them hadn't played in a college game. The first one was Moorhead, where they weren't sure, so they passed each other. Then they became sure, and they're like, I'm gonna do this. I can do this. Versus we got to do this together. It's all part of the process here, and I got to do a better job of teaching and what we accept. I played some guys too many minutes. Part of it was they said Davion had 2 fouls and he didn't. It took 5 minutes to tell us that he had 1 foul. He didn't have 2. So he was out of the rotation more than I wanted him to be. And then when the game winds down, there's 5, 6, 7 minutes to go. I'm going to try to win. I'm not worried about who's playing what, how many minutes. So, but we had 2 or 3 guys, really 3 guys play too many minutes. So, hopefully we get in a better rotation.
Jeff, over to you, and then we'll come back for a few follow-up questions.
Yeah, Cal, I was wondering, we're several years kind of into the Champions Classic now. I was curious about what you like about the event, and is there anything you might change moving forward if, you had your say about it?
No, it's a good event. I think both this and the CBS events are, they prepare you for neutral games. The problem is this year we don't need to work on neutral games. It seems like every game's a neutral game. And it appears as though if they do it in a bubble in Indianapolis, it's all going to be the same. So the issue we have, and this schedule, it's a little tough schedule for this group. I thought I'd have Keon. Probably shouldn't have gone this rough, but it is what it is. It's done. Let's play the games. And the great thing is we're playing basketball. So however this is, we're playing basketball. I look at this group again, and it's just like, hey, I'm with you. You got to listen. We got to make changes. You can't be blaming anybody. Hard thing for these kids, they get on the phone calls start happening. And that's when, kids got to stay the course, man. And we got good kids. So I think we'll be fine.
We'll go with John, Kyle, and Jerry in this.
Cal, you said, I think 2 to 3 weeks on Keon. Is there been a setback there at all? And how do you deal with the post rotation?
The docs just want him to take more time.
How do you deal with the post rotation while he's out? So Olivier's not playing 38 minutes or whatever it was yesterday.
Well, we got to get better performances out of some guys. And I tried to tell them today, normal teams play 7, 8 guys. And the way you get in that rotation is in practice and then playing in the game. And when you play in the game, you elevate the game. It's not like you're just trying to run up. You're in there to elevate the game, which means you'll get more minutes. But we got to. I mean, there's no way, even Isaiah, I was trying to play Cam some. I wanted to throw in Jacob some, just trying to get him on the floor. And, the game got close. I mean, we should have been up at half 10 or 12, missing free throws, dumb turnovers, lead bad shots. All of a sudden, you're up 6. You're up 6 with 18, 20. You should be up 8. And all of a sudden, you're down 3 with 2 minutes into there. And really through the first time out, and you should be down 6. That's how we started. So, you look at all this and you just say, all right, we want to have a rotation, but you're also trying to win the game.
All right, Kyle, then Jerry, we'll wind up with you.
Am I up?
Kyle's here.
Yeah, Cal, you mentioned, roles and things like that, and you're talking about offense and spacing. How much do you need BJ and Terrence to be sort of in attack mode. You've talked about get the ball by the man and you know, don't mess with the ball. Do you need those guys to almost initiate the offense from those wings?
Were they messing with the ball yesterday?
Well, yeah, Terrence had a couple times trying to go behind the back, and it seemed like it was driving you crazy.
And then it got stolen, tipped away, and we started a step back 3. So what we're saying is you got to be in attack mode before you catch the ball. And yes, we need Terrence and BJ to aggressively go at that rim. And if they collapse, find us. Get easy shots for us. But hopefully this was a lesson. And like I said, I hate losing. But when you're talking a team like this, that kind of team, I mean, is a hard. I knew it'd be hard before the game, and that's why I wasn't crazy and didn't go nuts after the game. I knew what it would be. It's you're waiting for the tape the next day to show them, to say, do you understand? And it wasn't defense and it wasn't rebounding. And you would have thought it was defense that they would. No, it wasn't. Second half, they shot a higher percentage, but it was breakout layups because of turnovers. They made a couple threes when they were up 10. And they're a good team. They're well coached. You have to play better offensively. You know what that means? You have to set better screens. You have to create better shots for each other. You can't just go try to get your own, especially, you ready? Early in the shot clock. You can't do it in the first 5 seconds. If you got a layup or something easy, fine. But if they collapse and it's early in the clock, give it to somebody.
Gary got the last one down, and we'll get Terrence in here. Go ahead,
Is it okay? I can barely hear you, Eric. Cal, I wonder about Marcus Garrett, the Kansas guard. How much of a challenge is he compared to, say, Jacob Gilliard last night?
Different, more physical. One is a tiny, quick water bug, Tyler Eulis-ish. And, Garrett's got some size and girth to him. He'll physically come right at you. Terrific defender, one of the best defenders in the country. And so whoever he guards, you may be a creator because he's going to lock down. He's a good defender.
All right, guys, I'm with Coach Cal. Give me just a moment here. We'll get Terrence in here for you.